So Elon Musk's brain-computer interface company known as Neuralink actually just received approval from the FDA to start running human clinical trials on its brain implants. If you're unfamiliar, Neuralink is working to commercialize BCIs for a wide range of applications, from stroke and spinal cord injury rehabilitation to neural prosthetic controls to the capacity to rewind memories or download them into robots. BCIs translate electrical impulses in your brain into the digital ones and zeros that computers understand. Since its inception, Neuralink has been the thing of sci-fi. I remember first writing about this in 2017 with Q Harrison. Neural implants, Neuralink will connect all brains. And our theory was that potentially with Neuralink, we could just make calls between our brains with people. We could create a shared awareness among people. And theoretically, Neuralink and other implants could make learning a new skill as easy as downloading Microsoft's Word on your computer, just like in The Matrix, how Neo uploads Kung Fu software into his brain. Now, before I get way too ahead of myself, of course, this thing needs to be tested on humans. It's only been tested on animals thus far, and Neuralink has received a ton of flack for it. Back in March, the FDA rejected Neuralink's application, reportedly in part due to all the test animals that kept dying after the prototype BCI was implanted in them. Reuters said that more than 1,500 animals had been killed in the development of the Neuralink BCI since 2018. Now, even though Neuralink has received FDA approval to begin testing it on humans, they wanted to make it ultra clear that recruitment is not yet open for our clinical trials. So they're not rushing to test it on humans, but they have received that approval. Despite that, the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine has had some very strong words to share with the world. It is important to remember that such FDA approval is not an acquittal of Neuralink's well-documented track record of animal cruelty and sloppy scientific studies. Past animal experiments revealed serious safety concerns stemming from the product's invasiveness and rushed, sloppy actions by company employees. As such, the public should continue to be skeptical of the safety and functionality of any device produced by Neuralink. Now, that's not exactly a great stamp of approval from the Physicians Committee. This Vox article actually goes into pretty gruesome detail of what has gone on in the testing of this chip on animals. If you want to read any of the content that I've discussed in this video, hit the link down in the description. I've curated all the articles that I've covered in this video, as well as a handful of links of how Neuralink's been covered over the years. There's this article, researchers developing mind-reading machine that works with 90% accuracy. The future of video content is all in your head. All the facts we know about Elon Musk's neural lace, the robosurgeon, and early trials, as well as the cyborg Olympics and quadriplegic games, a positive look at transhumanism. So those will all be curated in the link down in the description. Now, I was kind of curious, now that we have approval for human testing, how long is it going to take realistically? So of course I had to ask ChatGPT, how long do human trials of a medical device take to go from first trial to commercial approval? ChatGPT spit out a bunch of stuff about the general process of human trials, which is actually kind of interesting to learn about. But it all starts with preclinical studies, which they've obviously been working on with animals. Phase 1, which involves a small number of healthy volunteers, 20 to 80. Then more participants, 100 to 300, who have the condition that the device is intended to treat. Phase 3 involves even more participants, 1,000 to 3,000. This phase can take 1 to 4 years. And then it's got to go before the regulatory bodies to actually approve this. And then phase 4 is still monitored for safety in the general population. So all in all, from the first human trial to commercial approval, it can take anywhere from a few years to over a decade. Even if we take the conservative estimate of a decade for these human trials to be successful, we're looking at potentially 2035 Neuralink is on the market, and you can actually go and get outfitted with one of these Neuralinks and potentially get connected, your brain connected to a computer interface. And so instead of using a computer mouse or your voice to text, you're literally just using your thoughts to text or your thoughts to search. Neuralink is first targeted to help people with disabilities, especially neurological disorders, whether it's maybe stroke or depression, spinal cord injuries, or people who can't use their limbs actually being able to then use devices that we all get a chance to use. But there is a day where that brain-computer interface is actually how we utilize the internet. And that's kind of freaky. I know that it's easy to have a very knee-jerk, fearful reaction of a brain-computer interface because it's like, I don't know, putting a brain chip in my head just makes you queasy, right? And that's why it's always been the stuff of great memes as well. Elon fans, after they forget to renew their Neuralink Blue subscription. This guy's head explodes. Full self-driving Neuralink coming fall 2027. Take a nap while your Neuralink walks your body to the grocery store. I don't know, that one sounds kind of cool. Nonetheless, Neuralink has a very long uphill battle of also educating the market. and making it seem safe to put a device in your head if you don't necessarily need it. Their website is really trying to take people through the technology behind this, and they've got a very interesting walkthrough of all the technology in here, from the implant, what it is all made up of, to the surgical robot that it uses to actually sew this implant into your brain, to the results of being able to control a mouse with your brain. Neuralink was really originally started to help those who've lost the ability to use their limbs in order to give them the ability to now control devices and participate in this digital culture that we have. But we might not actually need to implant a chip in our brain. I found this study recently from researchers in Switzerland who created something called a digital bridge between the brain and spinal cord, which has now restored walking from somebody after paralysis. And this is how the device works.
The device has two parts. In the brain, implants are placed over the regions controlling movement. Then, in a backpack, a computer powered with artificial intelligence decodes brain signals generated when Gert-Jan thinks about a particular movement and sends an instruction wirelessly to a second device implanted in his lower back, bridging the damage to the spinal cord in his neck. It sends electrical impulses through the nerves to coordinate the leg muscles and allow him to walk.
This is a fascinating application of AI where they're putting AI as the bridge between the brain and the movement centers down the spinal cord. If the signals are not getting from the brain to the limbs, this AI can actually figure out what signals to send in order to get these limbs to move again, and it would learn over time through reinforcement learning. And what's fascinating about this experiment as well is that the man that they've been testing this on has actually shown signs of being able to walk now, even without this digital bridge assisting him. So through using this device setup, they've actually began to restore some of that connection between the brain and the spinal cord, which is a really fascinating use case of AI. And, potentially that's why Elon Musk has been calling for a moratorium on AI for everyone to slow down research. Maybe because he's thinking, Neuralink might not even need to exist if AI can figure out a way to solve paralysis in some sense. So once again, if you want to access any of the links that I have covered in this video, hit the link down in the description. It'll take you to everydays.wtf, where I've curated all these links for you to learn and read about brain-computer interfaces, because they are the future. They are coming. At one point, it was all buttons and no screens, and then it was buttons and screens, and then we got a mouse and a screen, and at this point, we've gotten, a touch screen and our finger. And so theoretically, the next interface goes straight from our brain to the computer, which is fascinating. It's freaky, but this just may be the world that we're living in a decade from now. And learning about it now and coming to terms with what this might look like and what some of the safety concerns are, I think it's important to inform yourself, because it might not all be doom and gloom. It might actually bring about a better world for us in some way, shape, or form. So that's all I've got on Neuralink and brain-computer interfaces for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like, maybe a subscription. Probably get back on AI tomorrow, but that's what I have for today. So until next time, continue exploring, stay curious. Don't forget to involve AI in some way.